I often look at why some people are successful and others aren't. And there are guiding principles to be followed. So we're going to start looking at them tonight. I mean, I remember years ago, I had a cat, Sooty, and the cat wasn't particularly commercial. So I thought, let's see, why is this cat not commercial? And I sort of did a Vulcan mind meld with her. And you know what? She just didn't see any opportunities, and she didn't see any business, and she didn't see anything. And I thought, oh, well, that's why the cat's not making any money. But you've got to look at making money. It's a sort of science, but it's not a science. I mean, you can teach a lot of things, and you can teach people how to be a mechanic or how to make a cake. You can teach people how to teach. You can teach people about quantum physics. But can you teach people to make money? Well, yes and no. I mean, if you've got a business and it follows a system of procedures, because at the end of the day, that's what a business is. It's a system of procedures designed to make a profit. So you can sort of follow that, but it's so variable that it's not always the best thing to try and map everything you do and let somebody else follow it. It's good to have a template. So what is it? It's not a course you can do to teach you how to make money, but because it's a mindset, and we want to be following a particular mindset. We want to look at opportunities, because when you want to achieve something, you tend to see the way to do it. It's a funny thing. It's once you're attuned, once you have the reason to look for these things, then you find that opportunities present themselves absolutely everywhere. If you don't look for them, then you don't see them. But if you're motivated, then you begin to see them. So that's one of the things I was trying to look at, is that what motivates people. It's often not just good enough that you get out of bed and you say, right, I've got to go to work and I've got to make some money. You've got to have an underlying reason to make money. I mean, a lot of the entrepreneurs that I've met over the years, they're driven, and especially the successful ones, but they're not always driven by positive things. Sometimes they're very anxious about what people think of them. Sometimes they're trying to prove something to everybody. Sometimes they're just trying to prove something to a particular person. Sometimes they just hate everyone and want to beat everybody. A lot of very successful entrepreneurs are egomaniacs. A lot of people that succeed push themselves to prove that guy that told them at school that they'd never amount to anything, and prove them that they're wrong. Sometimes with me, what motivated me, and it goes back to when I was younger and I saw my little girl and I thought, I want you to have the best of everything. And that became an underlying obsession to motivate and get out there. And the more I was out there, the more I saw opportunities. It's simply that. So I want to ask you a question. What drives you? If you know what drives you, then you can capitalize on it. Even negatives can be positives. Even if you've got a mental disorder, it can be a positive, because you can put things in front of yourself that drive you even more. People say to me all the time, certain people around me, they say, I hate football. I don't hate football. I just don't think it takes you anywhere unless you're a footballer. I think talking about football all day highlights football, but it doesn't highlight where to make money. And that's that. So what drives me? My little girl, my children. And as they've got older, then I've got to find other things to drive me. And you know what drives me now? I've just become interested in the business I do. And that's what happens. So I'm moving on here to my next slide, which is a little bit about what we're saying now, because a lot of people don't do as well as they can because they're always chopping and changing. They're always going from one thing to the next. So instead of saying, well, I'm an accountant, or I run a fish and chip shop, or I run a pub, and really get into that, they're always looking at the next big deal. And that's great. if the deal comes off. But so many people just run around all day looking for the next big deal, and sometimes it happens, but mostly it doesn't. So, stick in the business you're in, know who your customers are, and cater for them. I've got a little note here. Oh, I'm banging the table again. My apologies. Hands free, away from the table. Thank you. The don't keep chasing the big deals. Build up the relationships you've got with everybody around you, because they're the people that bring in the money. I mean, I've been offered deals this week. I keep getting offered. I don't know why, because I never really take them. I say, well, maybe speak to such and such, because I concentrate on accountancy, business development, the things that don't bring a fortune in on each deal. But over the years, I've built up a lovely client base, and I've built up a decent business. But I don't go after the big deals. So, if you want to talk through a deal, feel free to contact me, but I'm not really interested in the big deals. So just as a matter of interest, has anybody had a major get-rich-quick deal this week brought to them? If you have, look at it and see the reality of it, and then also see whether it's taking you away from your core business. I'm going to go to the next slide now, see if I remember what it is. So now, the idea of this presentation is to bring some concepts to you. It's not designed to sort of guide you or tell you in any particular way that's bespoke to your business. It's just to give you an overview. Now, I have cut this video up into snippets, so each individual video will deal with a particular part of what I'm talking about in a lot more detail. So there's basically 3 ways to improve business, to make more money. If you've got a business, one is to sell more, to sell at a higher price, and to sell more often. So what does that mean? I mean, it's very, very easy words, that sell more often, and sell at a higher price. Forgive me. Well, I don't think anybody can sort of comment on selling more, because I think we all know we want to sell more. And there's ways of doing that. I mean, how do you sell more? Maybe stock more items. How do we sell more often? Well, maybe encourage people to keep coming back. Maybe give them a voucher. The biggest one that people turn around and talk to me about is, how do I sell at a higher price? Because presumably, if I'm selling at a higher price, I'm getting the best price I can get. And if I put the prices up, I won't get more customers. Well, when I say sell at a high price, what I'm actually talking about is differentiate between a standard price and a higher price. So, when you take a train somewhere, think of it this way. You've got first class, second class. They're still selling a seat for the same journey, but they're just differentiating between what the standard price is, and they're just selling you more. On planes, they do the same thing. Everywhere, do you want to take the basic one, like Tesco's? You've got the blue economy packet, and next to them you've got the same product, supposedly a bit better, and that's got a higher price. It's nicer packaging. You feel you're getting a premium for it. So sometimes we look at how we can turn your product into a premium product and give people the choice. It is about quality. I mean, I feel that sometimes the supermarkets do cheat people. I shouldn't say that, but I've got no faith in what you're getting at the supermarkets is actually any good. I mean, you only have to walk down the aisles, and I was walking down Tesco's the other week, and I shouldn't really say Tesco's, but I was walking around one of the supermarkets the other week, and all I could see was 3 aisles full of alcohol, 3 aisles full of chocolate and sweets, and lots of tin food, and you can just see that there's not a great deal of value there. But they manage to present things really, really well to make you think you're getting a premium. Don't be like that. Just go ahead and genuinely create a premium service, delivery, or package. I mean, the eBay's great. You get free postage sometimes, or you can have premium postage to have it sent the next day. I know that we deal with a lot of people dealing on eBay and on generally out there, and it doesn't cost much more to deliver the next day or in 2 days or in 3 days or whatever. So these are things to consider. Through our planning systems, and any decent planning system, you've got ways of looking at you individually and selling more, and you've got ways of looking at you individually and how you can sell more often, and then of course selling at a higher price. It all depends on how your business is structured. I'm going to move on to something else that was it can be a bit of a revelation to people sometimes, and it's the income source grid. Now, what we've got on an income grid is, believe it or not, you've got very limited ways of making money. You've got 4 basic ways. I've said this over and over, and it can be contradicted, but in the main, guess what they are? Well, the first one is employment. PAYE. You're selling time, you're selling skills, but you're under the command of somebody else. So you get paid a salary for your time. So that's PAYE. You've got the next one, which is investment. And investments a perfectly decent way of making a living. It's difficult, but the way investments work is that you give somebody money and you hope that you get a return on that. And the return it can be interest, or it can be a capital growth, like you buy a property and you hope you get something back. It's basically income that you don't do any work on. I mean, you do work, but you're not physically working on it. Once you've given the money, you hope you're going to get some sort of return. Now, the next two are the confusing ones. The first of the next two is being a trader, running a business. And that's where we all are. We're all running businesses. And by running a business, you get up in the morning or in the evenings, you go to work, or you turn on the computer and you're buying and selling, performing services, doing everything you need to do in order to make that business work. And that's where most of us are. And there's nothing wrong with being there. Now, just before I move on to the next one, which is being a business owner, and you think, well, what's the difference? What was business owner, trader? What's the difference? Well, if you look at what a business is, I said before that it's a set of routines, a system, if you like, put into place and followed in order to create an income. Now, owning a business is the same thing. You're putting systems in place, you're making sure those systems are followed, and it's there to generate an income. The only difference is that it does it without you. So you're not a part of the process. We've now turned your business into a cross between owning a business and being an investor. So now you have a trading investment, and what you've got to do is keep it running. And that's another thing that we want to work with you with. That involves more internal infrastructure and management. So we look at like our team of coaches, and we've got some coaches who are very good at branding you, very good at saying, here's you, this is your USP, this is your unique selling point, this is why you're different from everybody else. They're the ones that are saying, come on, you can do it, this is you're doing great, look at the results we're getting, wow. And they're brilliant coaches. And then we have the other coaches, probably more like me, that look at systems, look at workflows, look at automations, look at software like Salesforce, look at relationship management software, looking at logging software, looking at databases, looking at what actually happens there that influences that. And that's also very, very important. So now I'm just felt I had to say that, but I'm just moving on to the next one now. And a lot of marketing people start with this. And what they say, this is know your target market, and this is rule 101, and it's segmentation. So what's segmentation? Well, it's recognizing who your target market is. So, if you supply vegetarian sausages, then maybe your target market isn't the traditional high street butcher, or maybe it is. You've got to know who your customers are. I mean, if you were selling ladies' bathing suits, then maybe I wouldn't be your target market. Well, no, I'm not. I've not got the figure for it. So know who your target market is. There's no point hitting out to absolutely everybody, because in this day and age, you do need to be niche. If you know the realm of the mass market is with the big companies, so do learn who your target market is. Then, when you know who they are, try and identify what they want, what their dreams are, what they're looking to achieve, what they gain from buying your product. I mean, can you answer another question for me? Can you say, what do your customers want? What do they want? Let me know. Tell me now. Let's talk about it. Then, once you've established what the customer looks like and what they want from you, then we've really got to look at why they buy from you. So why would someone buy from you? So there's another question. What's the top reason people buy from you? It's interesting. If you don't know any of this, then, and it's not there immediately, then I think we've got a lot to talk about. I think we've got a lot of work to do. Not a problem. We just know what work we've got to do. I mean, if you ask me any of those questions, I can tell you like that. One easy answer: you're my target market. You want to make sure that you're looked after with HMRC, and you want to make sure that your business prospers. You just don't want hassle. And why do you buy from me? It's because I'm incredibly good looking and articulate. That's why you're here. Yeah, I know we're efficient. I know that, but know why people are buying off you. Now, this is an important thing. This next subject, and it's something that's a constant frustration for me. It's looking at you, not the business. It's looking at where you are personally, what you're trying to achieve, and where are you. So what I need from you, and I'd like you very much to send it in to me, and if you're not sure how to do it, just let me know. But I need a personal income and expenditure form from you. I need to know what you need to live on. Okay, sobering. You probably think you know what you need to live on, but it's a very interesting exercise to list all your outgoings, be ruthless, and then see what you're spending your money on and see what you need. So why is this so important? Well, first of all, one day HMRC might knock on your door and say, tell me how you can afford that Porsche. You know, HMRC might knock on your door and say, are you paying the right amount of tax? So you've got to justify all of that. There's also, if I know how much money you need to live on and how much you're taking from the business, we can structure it to give you the best possible advantage. Whether you should be taking under PAYE or dividends or a mixture of both or other things. Maybe some things that you're spending money on are actually a business expense, and that's a different ballpark again. If you're a limited company, maybe you don't need to take as much and you can leave it to grow into the company and pay less tax, pay company rates, not personal rates, especially if you're in the higher tax brackets. So there are tax benefits if I know what you're earning and where it's coming from. Then, of course, we've got to be sure that you're actually able to survive, because if you've got a minimum level of expenditure, and even someone that's homeless has a minimum level of expenditure because they've still got to buy food, then we want to make sure that the business is actually achieving that. Because what will happen is if the business isn't achieving that, then you could end up reducing assets, or getting into debt, or being accused of living off income that isn't being declared. So we're back to HMRC again. So the other part of looking at your income is that once we've sort of justified what it is you're earning and how much you need to earn, and in fact that's one of my questions. Could you tell me right now what you need to earn, and if you're actually earning that? I mean, it's a very sobering question. When I've done these things, people have often said, well, where's all that money going? You know. And then here's another question. What would you like to be earning? And this is where we start the planning process. We start saying, okay, you're earning £20,000 a year now. You'd like to earn £40,000. So now we need to upsell. We need to upgrade our income by £20,000. That's fine. That's okay. So the next question is, how much do we earn on each widget that we sell? So if we're earning £10 a widget and we need to earn an extra £20,000 a year, then that's another 200 widgets a year that we need to sell, which is 4 a week. So how are we going to do that? And that's where the planning starts. But before we can plan, we need to know what it is that you want. So it's a way of knowing where we are and where we want to be. So can you tell me now what it is that you want? You know, I've been asked, I've got one coming in saying that somebody wants a new car. So what sort of car do you want? How much is the car? £30,000. Okay, so again, let's break that down. We've got a number now, but we're not looking at raising £30,000. We're looking at raising the finance on £30,000, which on a £30,000 car with a bubble might end up costing you, I don't know, £400 a month. So now we have to sell that amount of widgets in order to achieve that level of income, and so it grows. I've got another question coming in now, saying that somebody wants to go and live in Spain in a villa. That's good. So this is what we do with that. We simply say, when? We've got 10 years before you want to go. Do you want to go in 3 years? Because the monies that we need to raise, we can spread it over that time. So you want a villa in Spain. How much is a villa in Spain? Let's assume that you want to finance it. So we're looking at what the mortgage would be on a villa in Spain, plus what you would need in income, because you might not earn as much as you're going to earn in Spain, and we put it all together and find a plan of action to achieve that. So knowing what you want is as important as knowing where you are. Knowing where you are only helps us to bridge the gap between where you are and what you want, and it's all about the number of widgets you sell. So it comes back down to marketing. The accountant's job's finished, and now it's up to the marketing people to get you there, or yourself. Now I'm going to go through with another thing about pricing. We talked about putting the prices up before. Before I wasn't talking about putting prices up, but now I am talking about putting prices up. You see, one of the things to look at is many years ago I had a client, and he was selling handbags on the market, and we looked at his pricing policy, and at the time the fad was selling handbags retail for £2.99, and that was great. Let's say at the time he was selling 100 bags a week, so he was taking £300. He was spending £200 on stock, because the bags were £2 each. Forget VAT at the moment, and him taking £3 meant he was making £1 a bag. He made £100 a week on his gross sales. And I said to him, why don't you put the prices up? Because you're not, by the time you pay the rent, and by the time you pay petrol, and by the time you pay anything else, on these ratios you're not really earning much. And his attitude was, if I put the prices up, then I'm not going to sell as many. My sales are going to drop. And I said, well, okay, let's look at this. So let's say you put the price up to £3.99. So now you get £2 a handbag. That means that you've got £100 extra a week coming in. But let's say it's true what you say, and people won't buy off you. So you're now selling half the number of bags. So you're selling 50 bags. So instead of selling 100 bags where you make £1 each and get £100, you're now selling 50 bags where you can £2 each, so you've still made £100. So in this scenario, your prices can afford to go up, by a third, and you can afford to lose 50% of your sales, and you'll still be making the same amount of money. And his attitude was, well, I won't lose half my customers, I might lose 10%. So there you are, your quid's in. Now, there is a direct effect on your net profit. That's the profit after you paid all your expenses, based on reductions or increases in prices. So I've got a chart somewhere that I'll go through people on an individual basis. And basically, you just look at the chart and you say, if I'm on a 50% gross profit percentage and I drop my prices by 20%, then I'm going to make this amount less, probably about 30% less. If I increase my profits by 10%, then I'm going to make X amount more. And in fact, there is a concept of improving each area of KPI. Now, key performance indicators. This is an area where we look at each area of your business, especially the areas that actually create money, create wealth. So, for instance, how many people walk past your shop? How many people go to your website? How many go from the website to have a look more? How many people buy? How many buy extra? So we've got all these areas, and if we can increase each of these areas even by 10%, the knock-on effect. So if we say, well, you've got 100 people going to your website, so now we get 110 people, and in general, out of the people that go to your website, 20% of them buy, but now 22% buy. But the 22% are not buying on 100%, they're buying on 110%. So you take this and you do it year on year, and I think the stats go that after about 7 years, you're earning 1,000 times more than you'd be earning now, maybe even more. So these are the steps that we have to take. But they're all old and tried and tested methods, and it's something that we have to get you into the habit in. Now, just talking about habits, because one of my favourite authors, and I'm not on commission, is Stephen Covey with The Habits of Highly Effective People. And he talks about people getting into good habits. We want people to be not forcing themselves to do stuff, but to get into the habit of doing stuff. I know, I eat such rubbish all the time. I eat high-calorie meat. I love my takeaways. And yet, if I ate more fruit and veg, I'd be a lot healthier and a lot better. And it just makes absolute sense that I eat fruit and veg, and I don't eat the rubbish that I eat. I don't sneak that bag of crisps. I mean, I have an attitude that if my partner isn't around to see me eating it, then it's not going to harm me. But it does. It does a lot of damage. But so why don't I not eat this rubbish? Why don't I eat fruit and veg? And I don't like fruit and veg. But my mindset tells me I don't like fruit and veg. I've got a terrible, unhealthy mindset to food. So I put weight on and I get ill. Whereas all I have to do is change my mindset and begin to value fruit and veg. So, there are mind games we can play, and I really need to go and see a good coach to help me change my eating habits. But it's the same in business. I have developed reasonably good habits in the business world. So I don't think, this is how I make money, this is how the business runs. It's just something I do because I don't see any other way now. And bear that in mind, that the habits are very, very interesting to read. I mean, we've talked about in previous episodes about starting with the end in mind. So if we look at where we want to be and get there, it's a bit like, I wouldn't know how to get to London if I didn't know I wanted to go to London. I'd drive around in circles. And if I didn't know where I was to start with, then I might take a different route entirely. So there's a lot to be said of having good, strong business habits, and this is the guidance we need. I know I shouldn't eat McDonald's. I know I should eat carrots. But, maybe if I was in a little group of people all pushing me to eat the cabbage and all pushing me to eat the carrots and sort of disapproving when I go and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, then maybe that would help me. And this is what our groups are about as well. So when you're in our groups, we've got other people in the groups, all in the same boat, all looking to grow and improve their businesses. And hopefully when you've got other people in the group, so if you're in the group, give advice, listen to advice, and use all those experiences you've created over the years to help everybody else. And when you find yourself saying it yourself, you start to believe it more, and it starts sinking in. So I'm going to cut off here. It's been a good half-hour chat. I'm really grateful that everybody's joined me tonight. There will be snippets of this programme cut in, so I'll talk about more the 10% rules and the ways of increasing traffic to your shop and all these types of things, and these will be delivered by my my team leaders in our coaching groups. Some of the videos will appear on YouTube, and hopefully I'll see you again next week, where we really are going to start looking at ways of actually marketing your business. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can make sure you get the alerts and you can join in all future episodes. Do join one of our mentoring groups so that we can go into each of these details in a little bit more detail, and the podcasts will be available over the next few days. And I want to thank you all for listening and joining me. Do send me in your questions, and if there's anything particular you'd like to cover either in one of these live chats, then let me know, and we'll add them in the future. So again, thank you for joining me, and let me wish you a good night. I'll see you soon.